Hi there, and thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be looking at Lesson 3.5, Part 1, Graphing Linear Functions in Slope-Intercept Form. And today we're just identifying slope, so you actually don't need any graph paper for today because we're just figuring out how tall or how short a line is, or like how steep it is, because that's what slope would give us. Today's notes are going to have 7 things in them, so let's get started on that. The first thing we want to talk about is what is slope. Okay, so there's a lot of information here on the slide, so I'm going to kind of run down for you real quick and then show you the important things to write in your notes. For slope, it represents m in your slope-intercept form, and so we're going to be seeing this equation a lot. And this is where slope is located. Okay, so we're just focusing on that today. But you can basically find 2 points, x1, y1, x2, y2, and it's going to be the rise to the run, or rise over run. And that basically means the change in y over the change in x. You can do that by using y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And this is kind of challenging right now, but I'll show you how to do that a little bit simpler in just a moment. So I do want you to write down that what I boxed in purple. So basically, when the line rises from left to right, the slope's positive. When the line falls from left to right, the slope is negative. Essentially, slope is going to be rise over run in fraction form. And your fraction can be positive or negative depending on what your slope is doing. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to get you to copy down what's in purple, unless you want to copy down the whole slide. Let's go ahead and pause here right now so you can copy those things down in the box, and then once you're done, click play. All right, so what we're going to do is find slope, and remember the easiest way to find slope here on a graph is just rise over run. So what you're essentially doing is figure out how much did it rise and how much did it run to get from each point, okay? In this case, letter A, the rise is a positive 4, and the run is a positive 6. They've already counted that for us, but you could also count it too. We would just do rise 1, 2, 3, 4, and then ran over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can simplify 4 over 6 to be 2 over 3, and this will be positive because you notice that your line is going up in a positive direction. So 2 over 3, or 2/3, would be the slope for letter A. Notice in letter B, though, if you read it from left to right, the line's going down, so this is going to produce a negative result whenever we get our answer. Again, slope is rise over run. So we're going to look for how much did it rise, and it's actually falling, -3, and it ran over 2. Again, you can do that by just finding 2 points on the line and seeing rise, 1, 2, 3, and then run over 2. You can keep it as -3 halves, or you can say -1 1/2, but really you want to keep it in this fraction form because when we get into the graphing portion tomorrow, it's going to be easier to graph a fraction where you've got some specific numbers for the rise and a specific number for the run. Okay? So you're going to try these these 3. And again, you're looking for rise over run. So you're basically just connecting these 2 points to see how much did we rise or fall and how much did we run. So you're basically going to count the units. All right? So let's go ahead and pause here to see what we can do. And once you're done, click play so you can check your work. All right, so for number 2, we are going to do rise over run. And in this case, we went down, so that rise will be negative. We went down 1, 2, so that's -2 for the rise. Okay, and I'm going to do my run in a different color so you can kind of see the difference. Run, we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my run is 5, so the slope is -2 over 5, and this would be a negative slope because it's obviously going down. Okay. For number 3, let's count our rise. So you see where we're intercepting here, x and y can be intercepted there at that point. So I'm going to rise 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we're looking at rise over run, the rise was 4. And then I'm going to do run again in a different color. Run's going to be over, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, we can simplify 4 over 6 to be 2 over 3. And this one would be a positive slope. Okay. Number 4, you did need to be careful because you notice your intervals are every 2. So that means a half step would be 1. Okay, so just be careful with that. And I need to rise up first and then run. So I'm going to count half steps here. I'm going to rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that was my rise. And then I'm going to do my run in blue. Run would be half steps, 1, 2, 3. And that is a positive slope as well. So my answer for number 4 is 7 over 3. Okay. The next thing we're going to look at is whenever we have points represented in a table and we're trying to find the slope for that. Remember when you first wrote down number 1, you wrote down this little example, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And this would just be the difference in y over the difference in x. Okay, so what I like to do is just pick the first 2 points, or 2 easy points, and then subtract them. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, like for letter A, I would pick the 2 y's, 20 minus 14, and then using that same order, if I did top minus bottom, I'll also do top minus bottom here, 4 minus 7. Okay? If I subtract 20 and 14, I'm going to get 6. Then I subtract 4 and 7, I get negative 3. And then I can reduce that to negative 2. So this one's slope is negative 2. Okay? So again, if I did this for maybe letter B, I'll just pick the first 2, and I'm going to do 2 minus 2, and negative 1 minus 1. 2 minus 2 is 0, 1 minus negative 1 is negative 2, so my slope is 0 for that one. Okay, so that means there's no change in y. Letter C though, if I do y2 minus y1, I'm going to be doing negative 3 minus 0 first, and then x2 minus x1, I'll do negative 3 minus 3, minus negative 3. Negative 3 minus negative 3 means negative 3 plus 0, and that's going to give me negative 3 over 0, which means undefined. Okay, and with this one, because the division is by 0, you would just say the slope is undefined. And we'll see what that looks like whenever we start to plot that. So just remember, anytime 0 is on the bottom, you cannot have a number being divided by 0, so that slope is undefined. But you can definitely do like letter B, 0 divided by 2. So here are 2 that you're going to try. So again, you're going to do the change in y, so y2 minus y1, and then over the change in x, x2 minus x1, and make sure you subtract in the same order. So if you do like 15 minus 10, you got to do 4 minus 2. Okay? So let's go ahead and pause here so you can try it, and then once you're done, click play. Alright, so you did have to be careful here because notice now we have like a horizontal chart. So I selected for number 5 the first 2, so I'm going to do 15 minus 10 for my change in y's. And then for my changes in x's, I'm going to do the same order, 4 minus 2. Notice how 15 goes with 4 and 10 goes with 2. 15 minus 10 is 5. And then 4 minus 2 is 2. So my slope for this one would be 5 over 2. And that's how I found it because I did y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay? For number 6, I'm going to choose, again, the first 2 points. So negative 9 minus negative 12 over 5 minus 5. Negative 9 minus negative 12 actually means negative 9 plus positive 12. So that's 3. But then 5 minus 5 is 0. So this one is actually going to be undefined. Okay? The last little bit is I'm just going to get you to copy down what each different type of slope means. So these are just general examples of different slopes. You have a positive slope that rises from left to right. You have a negative slope that falls from left to right. Slope of 0 just means there's a horizontal. That's almost like if you're walking on a flat surface, you don't have any incline. And then undefined slope, this is where we would get like a 3/0. That is where we look at undefined slope and we graph it. So we're going to pause right here so you can finish writing down what different slopes look like. And then once you're done, click play to see what's next. And the only thing is next is the conclusion of our notes. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.